So, for this week, I wanted to start with something particular.
I can't imagine what it is.
So, this week, we lost the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
A man who created something that has inspired, I would at this point say, countless properties.
One of the most influential manga of all time, Berserk, its creator, Kentaro Miura, has passed away. At this time, we don't know the fate of Berserk, if their assistants are going to continue it or anything. But personally, I don't even think it matters, just because it was such an important story. It was basically his life's work.
And anything...
It was him.
Yeah. And anything they come out with, like, after... no matter how good it is, it's not him. Exactly. He brought something so unique to the property that you just can't recreate it.
Without Kentaro, there is no man with big anime sword. There's no Cloud Strife. There's no Dark Souls. There's no Monster Hunter. None of it.
He also is frequently credited as an inspiration that got tons of other mangaka who have made excellent series.
I saw, yeah.
As there.
The Fire Force Soul Eater author mentioned how one of the reasons he draws manga is because he grew up reading Berserk.
Yeah.
And you can actually kind of see Soul Eater, not as much, but you can kind of see in Fire Force like the realm of the evangelist. You can see some inspiration in there.
Yeah, it's definitely got those Berserk vibes going on.
Yeah, so for this week, I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't spend some time to talk about Berserk.
Yeah.
One series that I feel at this point, it deserves a real adaptation. Like, one with respect, not what we've been getting. After the god-awful 2016-17 series.
I'm torn because I would agree, I think it definitely deserves one that actually has the proper amount of effort and time put into it.
Yeah, one with a real budget.
Yeah. But recreating his incredibly detailed art style and also recreating it in a way that you can animate everything is gonna be like nothing short of a monumental effort, I'd say. But
yeah,
as things tend to go, maybe now that he has passed, we can finally get someone competent to put a good group together and get the funding to make a good one.
I hope that, especially too, since he's passed, they'll at least give it the respect it deserves too. Because if they make another one and it's crap, that's like you're shitting on his legacy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't do that. You got to make sure if you make it again that it's like 100% your best effort.
Exactly, especially
quality
with
tested.
This. Oh, even if they have to not say anything about it, do it in the shadows, and then quality test it and be willing to be like, tons of this shit needs to be reworked so that it actually is good.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, don't put out another garbage one. Not now.
I am glad at least the series ended off in a place where at least one major plot thread has been resolved. And I still think, even if it is never finished, people should still read it. Because what's there is already a masterpiece.
And there's already a pretty decent amount that's already out there.
Yeah, there's 364 chapters.
There's definitely a good amount to read.
It's been going for 32 years. Yeah, it's completely worth getting into, even though it will even if it's never finished, it's still worth reading.
100%.
Because it's not like it inspired all these things because of some ending that it might have had. Like, Dark Souls doesn't exist because there might have been an ending to Berserk at one point. It exists because of what was already there was just that good.
Yeah. You don't get to be in the position to inspire just such a wide swath of people without putting out some real good stuff. And I'd say both, because the art style and the just hyper detailed artwork is very good, and the vibes in it are super good. But I think the story deserves a lot of love as well. I think the story is just genuinely really good.
And I really love seeing the outpour of just condolences and support from people, just because of how much Berserk meant to everybody. Even people who weren't into Berserk can at least understand what a significant loss it is for the industry.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
It's basically the Stanley Kubrick of manga has passed away.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
I play Final Fantasy XIV, as mentioned before, that has a free trial up to level 60, which includes the Heavensward expansion. But everybody on there who plays Dark Knight went and formed a giant sort of line throughout one of the city, and it was on like every server. Like, everybody lined up as their Dark Knight class and placed like a little bonfire in front of them and just kind of stood there. And it was really cool to see.
Yeah, you could see that stuff that I think might have even made some mainstream news.
It did. It made a lot of news websites just because it was on every single server. Like, I even went and participated in it. I went and unlocked the Dark Knight job just for that, just because it was one of the few classes I hadn't unlocked yet. But I'm like, now's the time.
Now is the time.
Yeah, it was a really nice tribute, and it went on for like 2 days. It was amazing. Because, without guts, there's no Dark Knight. Even the male character idol animation is just like the guts pose with the sword over your shoulder.
That's good shit. We lost a Titan, and I honestly don't know if anything's really gonna have as big of an impact as Berserk had. Because, like...
Yeah, it's on the level of, in its medium, it's like Lord of the Rings or Dune in terms of how important and influential it is to other works of its genre.
It stands out over a lot of the other long-running stuff because it is so much more influential, because you got One Piece that's been running constantly since like the 80s, so there's over 1,000 volumes. And it's considered one of the most popular series. But One Piece has still not really... It hasn't had such a cultural impact as Berserk, because Berserk has literally basically inspired other people to create more stuff that's like Berserk. No one's really doing anything like that with any of the other major series.
Yeah, like, I'd say, One Piece, JoJo, long-running series like that have had a lot of fanfare around them. Although I don't think anyone's really tried to copy or emulate their style.
No.
Granted, I feel like there has been copies of One Piece. I feel like a lot of shonen manga has come out where it's tried to sort of do what One Piece does, but to less effect.
That would make sense. I can't really speak on it, admittedly, because I don't watch One Piece.
I have never watched Fairy Tail, but Fairy Tail always looked like a One Piece cop-out to me, so I was just like, I'm good.
Fairy Tail,
I hear Fairy Tail isn't that good, though, from even people that like Fairy Tail. They're like, it's okay.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes of Fairy Tail, and I was like, this is fine, but I'd rather watch something better.
Yeah. I also hear almost every bad guy in that series ends up joining the main party. Which sounds kind of...
Wow.
Yeah. Like, let's just recruit every villain.
Not even JoJo does that shit. Like I think there's always one villain towards the beginning who gets recruited, but I think that's basically it.
Well, Georgia primarily has just throwaway bad guys. It's just villain of the week.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Part 4 is because it's just a small town. Most of the antagonists are fine afterwards because it's a town full of stand users.
Yeah.
It's not like Part 3 or 5 where you just like end up killing the guy and moving on.
Have you watched what's it called? It's Thus Spoke Rohan. I forget what his first name is.
Rohan Kishibe.
Yeah, Kishibe.
I have not actually. That's the OVA, right, off of like one of his one-off series for Rohan.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix. I think Netflix produced it.
But yeah, I know Rohan is kind of his pet character because I think Rohan is his self-insert.
That would make sense.
Because he's a manga author.
Yeah, he's got a cool stand. But I don't know. I don't really have anything else to add.
Yeah, it's a huge loss, but I'm grateful that we even have it in the first place. So I think that if anyone's interested in reading Berserk, it's definitely never too late to start.
Exactly.
Just keep in mind that there is some really graphic depictions of violence, including sexual violence. So if that's not your cup of tea, then it's probably not something you actually want to get into because it's very graphic.
Yeah, that's a very important...
It does not fuck around with it.
No, that is a very important disclaimer to put on there. It is as graphic as fuck.
Yeah, it's super graphic. It's I wouldn't consider it like a lot of other series like Redo of a Healer where it's just like an edge fest. Like it's worked into a lot of characters' stories very well, and I think you can handle that kind of content maturely, which I feel that Miura does. It's just it is graphic.
Yes.
And it is there.
The world itself is so dark and violent, it does not make the graphic content does not feel out of place.
Yeah.
And it is handled in a as respectful as you can get depicting that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely I've been reading through it again and it's still just as good as the first time I read it. It's a fantastic manga. Check it out and rest in peace, Miura.
Rest in peace, Miura. You were a legend.
The GOAT.
And the GOAT. And now that we have the solemn memorial section done, we can make jokes about systemic racism. And
yes, 86.
Yep.
So, turns out their squad is literally just there to get genocided. They are not meant to succeed. They are there to die.
I had seen some theories online where people were like, they're just putting the 86 out there to exterminate them. And I was like, yeah, no shit, dude. I thought that was pretty implicit.
Yeah.
But then they explicitly stated this episode.
Yeah, and all the characters are aware of it. Except they choose to actually go and defend the people because they've all met one cool white person.
Most of them. I don't think the red-haired girl has.
No, yeah. But for a lot of them, they're like, hey, some of them have Imperial blood, too.
Yeah.
Which they confirmed, too, because I was saying that the girl with the purple hair seems like she's probably like half something, which she is, I guess.
Yep.
So apparently there's even racism among the 86s, so they don't like people who are half Alba.
Yeah, they want the purebloods.
Yeah, but even the 86s, I guess, are shitty too. He said like some of them treat like people like Anju terribly because they're half white.
It's kind of like there's in the D&D. This is going to be kind of a weird thing, but it'll make sense in a second. In the D&D handbook, it describes half-elves as the humans look at half-elves as elves, and the elves look at the half-elves more as humans.
Yeah, they don't fit in with either.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is here.
And they talk about some like good Alba that they met, like the guy who, I forget his name, but the lieutenant there who was talking to her mentions how when he was a kid he had some in one of the camps an Alba woman taking care of him, and they reference to the commander, the previous Laughing Fox guy. Now they decided that just because people are scummy to them, they're not going to be scummy to others. So they get to decide how they want to live, and so they're going to protect people. Because they could always just let the machines through and like wipe out everybody, but that would be a dick move to do because they know not everyone's an asshole.
Yeah, you would be condemning some decent people to die as well, and
which is pretty mature of them.
Yeah,
I know if I was in that situation, I probably wouldn't be as like forgiving. That's basically like it's basically being like, hey, yeah, these fascist overlords are forcing me and my people to fight to the death for them just so they can exterminate us, but there's some good people living over there. I'm gonna like protect those good people.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that either. I am not so noble a person. Although, I don't know. I feel like I would have more trouble just like laying over or rolling over and dying for the robots, because I would rather not. So I guess I'd rather fight. But then again, I'd probably be a pretty shitty mech pilot anyway, so.
Yeah. And we do find out too that their squad specifically, like, yeah, they're sending all the 86s to die, but they're sending specifically everybody who's good at everything to be in the Spearhead squad, because they don't want any rebellions, so they're taking their best fighters and putting them there.
Yeah,
where it's the worst fighting.
This whole thing stems from Major. Basically, she keeps complaining about the fact that she's not getting any reinforcements to her squad.
The uncle's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Also, why would he put her in such a position to just help? He's like, yeah, he's going to put her into essentially the doomed squad. And if his intention is for her not to like sympathize with them, why would he do that?
I don't know. I do not have a good answer.
Because of course she's going to confront him next episode, probably be like, wait, you're not going to send reinforcements until they're all dead?
Which is a pretty fucked up military strategy, but I guess it works from the genocide angle.
Yeah. Well, I guess because they don't know about the brains, as far as we know, so they're just thinking, like, yeah, we'll just, let them all get killed off for, like, the next 2 years, and then after all the machines will turn off, and then, boom, we'll just go and take over that area.
That's another good point, because, like, they don't know about the brains, so they probably want to hurry up and get everyone killed before the robots go down, so they're like, just send everyone in to die. Just as fast as we can.
Guys, it wasn't really genocide. They fought for freedom and stuff. They fought for us. They were killed by the robots, not by us.
Yeah, we didn't genocide anybody. Except they fucking did.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. Alba, it's not a good look, guys.
I have a feeling at some point they're going to get a wake-up call, like, where the actual city area is going to get attacked.
Yeah, because there's got to be something.
Which is going to be real bad, because that's a lot of brains.
And it'll be a lot of fresh brains.
It's a pretty grisly scenario if you think about it. Just imagine your entire civilization gets, like, attacked by robots that just harvest your brain. Like, literal zombie bots.
I can picture the fucking robots, because I would guarantee that the inside of the city has no defenses. So just the robots would have free reign to dash through the streets, cutting people's heads off.
Yeah, because apparently most of their artillery hasn't been used in forever either, so they are not prepped for like an internal invasion either.
Nope.
And something tells me that since it's been collecting all like the smart like soldiers and stuff, especially Shin's brother, that they're gonna do some kind of weird tactical thing where they're gonna infiltrate, like the machines are actually gonna sneak into the city.
I think that'd be cool.
That would be cool,
I mean,
because the Alba need a wake-up call.
They do.
And then they're gonna get saved by the 86s and be like, oh.
Maybe you guys weren't all bad after all.
Maybe you guys were people after all. We gotta start there.
Yeah. Maybe the true people were the ones we tried to genocide all along. I don't know.
I can't believe the series is gonna be the Jews saving the Nazis.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either.
That's something.
What a time to be alive. It kind of makes me want to... This was a manga series, right?
A light novel.
Light novel. I can never remember which one's fucking which. But it makes me kind of interested to see, maybe pick up the light novel if there's any translated ones I can get my hands on.
The only thing I see in online things about it, talking about... No one ever talks about the lore or stuff. They're just talking about Shin and Lena's relationship.
That's cool.
The shipper's voice is the loudest one.
The shippers are always the fucking loudest, man. The internet brings the horny out of people.
I'm going to need a bigger bonk.
We know they're going to be together. And it's going to be some shit.
I wonder how long this is planning on going. I wonder if this is a 13-episode or 24-episode series.
That's a good question. I actually don't know.
Because next season, I know we're taking Higurashi Satsu, and we're going to complain about that dumb bullshit.
we're gonna pick up a show.
I'm not even thinking it's going to be good. They're doing the answer arcs, and I'm pissed. I'm like, why do we need to see it again? I know what happened. I'm aware of what happened.
We just want to bitch about it.
Yeah, it's there to be complained about. It's not even going to be good. It's going to be a bad show we're taking. I don't trust Ryukishi with this one.
On purpose. We've done it before.
Yeah, 86 is good. I actually hope it's 2-core. This is one of the few times where I'm like, I don't want this to end in 5 episodes.
Yeah, I'd rather not get a read the light novel ending. I'd rather see some kind of resolution.
I don't want to read.
There's too much shit to read.
I'm fine with reading the manga endings, because, I can feel like I can read a manga faster than a light novel.
Yeah, because your brain would be able to process the scenes more quickly with the visual backgrounds.
To read a light novel, it takes a lot for me. I have to really like it.
This also feels like it's more action-centric, even though we get these basically... There's some entire episodes where it's all dialogue, but I still feel like this is a little bit more action-centric, and it would do better as a manga.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. You like it. We both like it, and we want to see more of it. What's next?
Speaking of what I like, Shadow's House. Dude, John's fucking great.
John is the fucking best. He's the best John. Shadow.
I love also how John is basically Shadow Emiliko.
Yeah, it's weird that those two have a better dynamic than everyone else with their own faces.
I also like too how she how when she finds Patrick, she has a nice moment with him where she goes and helps him, gives him the oranges and stuff, and then even offers to get him out of there, but he wants to wait for Ricky because each shadow should be helped by their own doll.
Right. It would look wicked bad for Ricky if he was saved. If Emiliko saved fucking... Oh my god. There's fucking so many names. If Emiliko saved him, it would look bad for the two of those guys.
I also really like the moments with Emiliko, Sean, and Rum. The trio, how by sitting on the bench, they figure out it's the rabbit.
Yeah, I love how Sean is like, so the bench must be weighted. The statues were a super big trick. Oh wait.
Also, it seems like Edward is specifically trying to fuck over Kate because everyone else is put in a box, whereas Kate is in a hanging metal cage.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do against that?
I don't know.
But it also turns out that magically being able to control shadows or soot is not actually that special, because John seems he can do it, and then we see all the adults can do it. Like the lady who makes the raven.
Yeah, I think they're pigeons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're like carrier pigeons. Because they carry messages.
Yeah, but so turns out that's a normal thing. Soot magic.
Because then that one guy, I don't know what his power overall is supposed to be, but basically he can move around the pieces on the map. And that's how everyone is keeping track of everyone. And that's how the nobles are keeping track of the people in the maze.
Yeah. And we see that Ricky and Lou are going around together. And I think Ricky is developing a crush on Lou.
How could you not? Lou's kind of cute.
I love how she almost falls off a cliff too and is totally just unfazed by it. I like how every shadow is really different than their shadow master.
Me too. I think it adds for a nice dynamic because eventually they're going to have to be their shadow master.
Yeah, I do really like too the dynamic between. I like how John showed up and how John doesn't like them putting on airs with him. Like how Sean starts talking to him really casually, and he's like, "Hey, that's a pretty casual tone to take with your shadow master." He's like, "Keep it up. I like that."
It's more evidence that John is just the fucking best.
John is great.
I love the scene with Emilico and fucking the douchebag Shadow is great because I love how Patrick. I love how she just starts dropping shit. She's like, well, I won't rescue you, but I don't want you to get lonely or sad. So here's some orange slices to keep up your energy. Here's a flower. I picked a flower and you can just have it and it'll make the hours go by faster.
I feel like Emilico is basically going to change the way the shadows look at dolls.
Me too, because she's great.
She is. This episode I was thinking about, I'm like, man, she has a really good character.
She is. She's very bubbly and positive, and it stands out above everybody.
Some of the previous episodes, she was pretty much reactive to everything, but this one I felt like she was very proactive in everything that she was doing.
I suspect it's because we had to take the time to learn about how everything works, but now that we know how everything works, they can kind of let the characters go in this sandbox.
Yeah, like I like how she just helps Patrick anyway, and even he's like, why are you helping me? I'm not even your shadow master. And she's like, yeah, but you're still a shadow, and we exist to serve the shadows. And I would feel bad if I was stuck in a dark place like that.
She's very empathic, and it's a lovely quality. I want to see how they rescue Kate. Because Sean and John split up.
Yeah, because they have to go and clean his clothes because he got himself all dirty.
Because he's a dirty boy.
I have a feeling that the wheelbarrow full of flowers is actually going to be the thing they use. Because think about it, if she jumps into that, she won't get hurt.
That's a good point. They just need to figure out how to open the cage.
But I think the one they're closest to is Shirley.
Yeah.
Rum's, I don't know how I remember that, but maybe that's because I just like this show. Rum's shadow mistress.
Yeah, and we even get a little sneak peek of like her Saw-esque trap where she's just sitting in a chair.
She's got a bunch of like wires attached to her.
What the fuck's up with that?
That's true, actually. She's got it worse too. The rest of them are all just in boxes, so maybe these are the two that Edward wants to fail.
I remember one of the nobles at one point says like Shirley and Kate are the ones we're rooting for to fail or something like that because they're at the bottom.
Oh, I did like I felt like Rum got some development this episode.
Yeah, Rum's also starting to come into her own as a character. Cause
Yeah, we find out she's actually really, really smart. She almost has a photographic memory.
Yeah, and that's a fucking real useful quality to have in a face.
Yeah, and they figure out a bunch of stuff by working together too, which is probably not something that the Edward intended, but they figure out using each of their things, like the magnifying glass, the map, that in the lantern, they accidentally burn the map and see that there's little secrets on it. Like if you burn it a bit, you can see secret routes and stuff. Or John's map was completely covered in soot besides one spot where they figure that's where you can get rid of all the soot.
Yeah, there's like a weird shed or something.
Yeah. And so they break off to go to that area because, it's up to every face to save their own shadow.
Yeah.
But yeah, solid episode. I really like this show.
This show is very good. It does a good job.
Mystery, and I really like the Shadow Masters too, because I thought they'd be like, besides Kate, without like really character to them, but they all actually are very charismatic and likable. Like I even like Patrick, because I like how Patrick is kind of a wuss and has no confidence. He kind of leaves everything to Ricky, even though it should be the other way around.
Yes, I think that's very interesting. I think it's in the ED, it shows the shadows and their faces in scenes that really kind of, like the way it's laid out in the ED, it shows everyone's dynamic, if you think about it. Because
John's like doing a big fist bump in the air, like,
and Sean is just trying to catch the fucking teacup that he sent flying across the room.
Louise is just staring at Lou because Louise is a narcissist, but Lou doesn't really care about anything.
Ricky is standing behind Patrick like he's a fucking Grima worm tongue greasy motherfucker.
And Rum and Shirley have no contact whatsoever.
Yep, they are far away from each other and not even facing each other. And that's something I didn't really put together until like an episode or two ago, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
It's a good show. I really like. Also, I want to know there's someone watching them, and that seems to be helping them. Like, how there's someone like invisible, almost like that led Emilico to the oranges.
Yeah, I want to know what's going to happen with that, because I suspect I feel
like that person might be one of the higher ranking shadows. That's instead of the rest of them, where they're all like, "Oh, we just want to watch these people fail." Like, someone probably was like, "I'm going to back the underdogs."
Yeah, I think you are exactly right. I was about to say pretty much the same exact thing too.
Also, imagine it's the grandfather.
That would be cool, because maybe the grandfather's like, "Hey, I like this kid.
Yeah,
this kid's fun.
I'm bored of all these other ones. They're just kind of pompous dicks.
These guys are assholes. Let's bring someone nice into the fold."
Yeah, especially Edward, who is an ass licker.
I like Edward a lot because Edward is fucking unhinged.
Yeah, Edward's interesting. Edward's a neat crony villain. I actually almost like crony villains better than like usually the main villains.
You can have a lot more fun with crony villains because you can just go super goddamn crazy.
Also, I think you can relate to crony villains more because at the end of the day, they're just trying to do their job and not get in trouble. And I'm like, that's me whenever I go to work, when I got to be the bad guy to a customer. It's like, don't get mad at me. I'm just the henchman.
When they send the pigeon to Edward, it releases like this awful ear-piercing screech before it turns into text. And Edward's like, can't these things deliver their messages a little more fucking quietly? And I'm like, I get it. I get Edward a little bit more now.
Yeah. Good show.
This is a very good show.
Something I was kind of like okay on this week was Higehiro. So we got conflict, probably the final conflict. Her brother, turns out she's from a rich family.
Yeah, they own like a company.
Yeah, he's got business cards and a limo. or not a limo, but like a fancy car that someone drives for him.
I figured the luxury car was going to be one of her family members. I thought it was going to be her dad, though. I didn't think it was going to be her brother.
The brother probably makes more sense since, like, he's closer in age to Yoshida, so,
Yeah.
they can do more of a conflict with that.
And dad's probably busy running that company or some shit.
I feel like you can compete with the brother better than the dad. Because with the dad, it's just like, dude, this is her father. But with her brother, it's like, we know what's best. It's like, no, you actually don't.
You're the same age as me. You're just an entitled dick.
Yeah, you're the same age as me, and I'm clearly doing a better job filling in that role.
Big bro Yoshida.
Also, yeah, Japan has an emphasis on age and stuff, too, so you really usually don't argue with someone who's that much older than you as your senior.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so the brother's going to be the final thing. Watch it be like everything else in this show where they have one sit-down talk and then everything's fine after.
I hope not. Like, I genuinely hope not.
Also, the dude from last week who was awful is now suddenly cool.
Yeah, like, don't worry about him.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you don't really like this guy, right? And he's like, later that comment he had where he says, I just don't like people like that who use the power they got to control people's lives. It's like
you?
Like you use hey, you need a place to stay. Well, you gotta have sex with me.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse me?
Thing...
You're gonna have a moral high ground moment here?
I'm sorry, Mr. Sexual Predator. You can't take the moral high ground.
This dude was just like Dennis Reynolds in the previous episode. It's the implication. They can't say no.
He super was, but now he's wicked chill. I hate that shit.
I'm a friend and helping you out.
This
is worse than Sunshine.
I was literally about to say the same thing because it keeps popping into my head.
Because I actually like Sunshine. Sunshine has some good moments later.
Oh, he's great. And have you watched the OVA?
I have not, but I imagine it's pretty good.
It's very good. They wrap that series up. Do they
settle things? Is it like an ending with the OVA, or
it's okay? It's an ending.
I'll watch it unless it was going to be like one of those things where it's like, all right, now read the light novel.
No, it's like it. I could see that it kind of is, but it really isn't. Like at the end, everyone knows who wins.
Okay.
But like
that's all I need to know is that they all know.
Shit loops around.
And I don't even need you to like spoil it, like, because we know who. I know who wins. I know it's gonna be
Sun-chan.
Yeah, it's gonna be Sun-chan. It's the bros before hoes ending. No, it's gonna be the girl who puts on glasses. I forget her name. To like
Pansy.
Yeah, it's gonna be Pansy.
Yeah,
it's one of those series where you know who the main girl is, and everyone else is just there killing time.
She wins, and then there's also a moment of like, I did all of this to win a larger objective. The harem was not the larger objective. And it's like, what the fuck? I get it, and I respect it. Watch Orosuki, guys. We covered that on the podcast, and it's a pretty goddamn good show. I like it better than Higehiro.
Higehiro's out. Higehiro has no tension.
Yeah, exactly.
Even now, seeing this guy, I'm like, with everything else we've like, there's so little tension. They had the scene where the two love interests are talking, and they basically say, well, what if the high school girl wins? That's fine. Nothing you can do, I guess.
Yeah. And that's coming from his boss. That's Goto-san, who's like, you know what? If she wins, there's nothing I could do about it. It's like, what? Huh?
This show is so devoid of conflict.
Like, no one fights for anything except for Kohai. Work Kohai. And even then, it's not enough to cause any sort of real tension, because you know she's not going to win.
If one of the villains in air quotes appears on best antagonist list, you know we're padding.
Yeah.
Unless the next episode turns around and the brother is just the worst piece of shit, but I doubt it.
He didn't seem like it in this episode. He
His
just
whole
seems
thing,
like
he's gonna be the type where it's like you can't have individuality. It's all for the company, all for the family.
Yeah.
And then at the end, well, I guess you seem pretty happy here. I guess that's all I could ask for as a brother. Goodbye.
Yeah. The boring ending.
I've seen this plot before.
I know this is the plot we've seen a million times before, but I hope beyond hope that it's not the ending we're gonna get. But that's how it is. That's kind of all I really have to say about Higehiro. Like, it's fine. I feel like the rest of the season for this one is just going to be like, where's the conflict? We need the conflict. Unless it ends with like, hey, the brother was kind of the antagonist the whole time, and then at the end they resolve him, and then it turns into a read the manga ending. Or light novel, or whatever the fuck.
It's a light novel.
A lot of light novel stuff this season.
Well, here's the thing. It's easier to make a light novel than a manga, because you just need to write for a light novel, not draw.
That's fair. It's fair. But that's kind of, I don't know. That's our Higehiro, where's the conflict segment.
Where's the conflict? We're searching everywhere.
We're searching for the conflict. But next, we should move on to a show
I took the conflict, and I left it all in one piece. Now you'll just have to find it.
You'll just have to go out and search for it.
So come aboard and bring along all your plot development.
Let's talk about a show that actually, like, has a plot and has things happen. Kind of.
Zombieland. This was a weird episode. I don't know if I really liked this episode that much. It felt kind of like filler.
Yeah, because it has that tidy way of wrapping up with filler where, like, everything is exactly where the episode started.
Yeah, nothing actually matters. It's this character we just got introduced to is the only one who went through the development. And yeah, she's the only one that went through the development where she realized, oh, I can't be a part of Franshushu because these girls have all died and not got a chance to live out their dreams, but I'm still alive and have the chance to live mine. Okay, glad you learned that, character. Goodbye.
We get introduced to a character that apparently was in the background the entire time, but we just didn't notice.
And she it's not overlaps like super hard with Sakura. So I'm kind of glad she didn't stick around because I was going to be like, this is just Sakura.
Yeah. Even like the opening is the same where
like they did it on purpose, of course, but it's still like, oh, so she doesn't die. He just drags her back. I did like that scene at the beginning where they're like, what did you do? And he's like, it wasn't me.
I think the beginning of this episode is definitely the strongest part because that shit was all really funny.
Yeah. Like he's like covering up a murder.
She basically, this girl goes to a bathhouse, and since she can't see because she doesn't have her glasses, she goes into the men's bath and slips on a bar of soap right in front of Tatsumi, and it does the same exact thing it does at the beginning of season with, like, 1 when Sakura dies. Yeah, it's good shit. And Tatsumi is just fucking mortified, and he brings her body back wrapped up in a towel.
And he's like, okay, everybody, so welcome number 7.
We're an 8 members group now. I'll introduce you to number 7. And everyone's like, Tatsumi, what the fuck did you do? I didn't kill anybody, I swear.
Like, I don't know. It's kind of a waste of time for the rest of the episode because, again, it doesn't change anything about the rest of the cast. No one else has changed in any way. It's only the character that was introduced only for this.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I don't really see her coming back. I mean, there were some moments
later. I liked how Saki was all obsessed with her Tamagotchi because, you know, Saki is from the 80s, so Saki's all Gen X, and that was new at the time.
Yeah, this episode has good moments.
I realize the group is disproportionately millennials.
Yeah.
Because Saki's Gen X, Junko is a boomer, Yugiri is too old to classify.
She doesn't fit in any of those.
And I think Sakura, and Lily are all millennials, and then this girl's a Zoomer.
Yeah. A very young group we've got.
Besides the one boomer and the one Gen Xer. And then the person too old to classify. And whatever Yamada Te is, I don't know what her age is.
I don't remember. I know they've said it before, but I literally cannot remember. And it doesn't really matter because she's got the intelligence of a dog, basically.
The legendary Yamada Te.
Don't worry, guys. She's very legendary.
Yeah, it just was, I don't know. This season, I feel like, hasn't been as good as the first season. It's still been really good. It's just not as good as the first one.
Yeah. I think the first one set like such an almost impossibly high bar because the first season is so good. But like, how do you follow up with that?
Yeah. It's just, it's good. It's just not anything amazing so far. I'm hoping that we get something soon that's just like, that was it. That was the 10 out of 10 episode. Just because, actually, I feel like they haven't been doing anything interesting with the music lately. Because, we got zombie death metal, zombie rap battles,
the
biker
true.
song in season 1.
This one has all been idle music. Except for
in
that
season
one,
1, even like Lily's song was really good.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been, it's just been your generic idol stuff.
I think the only one that's really stood out to me is the one that they did when who was it? Was it Junko who was playing the guitar?
Yeah, that's the only one that stood out, really.
And then they immediately follow that up with a song that they've already done before.
Well, that's kind of their like go-to song. It's like their greatest hit, I guess.
Yeah, but to show it in the same episode, basically back to back, seems like kind of a weird choice to me. Especially because like that's how a normal concert would work. But normally we get like the one song with the visuals and then they kind of wrap it up after that. They don't usually play two.
It just, I don't know. It's, I want to be more hyped than I am. I'm not sure why I'm not more hyped. Maybe it's me. Maybe the show's fine. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the show's pretty good, but like I do agree that I don't think it meets the standard of the first season. I think that's a very fair assessment. But it's still fun to watch.
I think it's more of the same, but not really innovative. It's good because it's more of the same, but it's just not like building on it in any sort of interesting way. I think especially this episode too, because again, nothing really changes. Nothing really. It doesn't. Our main cast isn't really the focus this episode, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Next episode we get a Yugiri episode though.
Yeah, that'll be actually neat. I'm looking forward to that because we get to see what it looks like Edo period Saga looks like.
Yeah. And I don't even think I don't think she got an episode in the first season.
No.
So this will be our first episode with her, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I am curious about her. Her and Tay are the two kind of enigmas.
Yeah. Actually, the Tay episode was pretty good. I liked that. Because it actually did show all of our side characters just kind of interacting with her.
That's true. But again, it wasn't really about Tay. It was kind of about...
Yeah, just the other... Tay was a vessel to move the story.
Yeah, she was more of a framing device than a character.
Yeah, it was primarily about the biker girls.
And again, that was still kind of fun. Because,
was fun.
We're revisiting these old characters and seeing what they're up to. But, yeah, I think we really haven't gotten a whole lot of innovation out of Season 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully, with the Yugiri episode next week, we get a little bit more of that. That'll be cool to see.
Moving on to Get It Passion Baby! Get It Passion Baby!
Yes. That is the OP.
So we finally get the Evil Iruma episode.
He
is great.
Like, he's awesome. I love him. but he doesn't feel evil to me still.
It's more just like his inhibitors were taken off.
Yeah.
His ambition is now he's now fully going forward with his ambition, and he's not like the nice little squishy I gotta say yes to everybody character.
Exactly. He's
and he's
not
cool.
He's not gonna go out of his way to be a dick to someone, but like
he can be a bit more of a dick, like to his grandpa. And then when Asmodeus first shows up, he just hands him his bag. He's like, "Here, you wanted to hold it, right?"
And to be fair, Asmodeus really did want to hold the bag.
He did. And then he pets Clara on the head, and he's like, "That's good. That's just how you should be."
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about Evil Iruma is that he seems to be making Clara the girl, and I don't like that.
Well, because everyone haven't seen Amari.
Yeah, Amari's the girl, and I
like
want
her explanation to get for it is that they believe, since they think he's a demon, that he's going through his evil cycle.
Yes.
But that's going to be interesting when because Amari knows he's a human. And humans don't have evil cycles.
Same with Sullivan and Opera. They know he's a human, and it's like, what?
Well, the grandpa's just happy he's using the carriage.
Yeah, that's true. Because plebeians walk.
Also, I like how that girl, Aiko, who's basically his fan from the shadows, just starts popping off when he shows up, and he's just super smooth and cool. Or then all those dudes that are, like, shitting on their class, like, oh, that's the misfit class. You know, those guys are a bunch of losers. And then they bump into Iruma, and he's like, hey, how about if you have something to say, you just say it to my face next time, all right? And the guy's like, oh, yes, sir.
It's very good shit.
And they decide that they don't want they don't want to be stuck in their dumpster classroom anymore.
They want the big boy classroom.
Yep. So he goes to Caligo Sensei and says, hey, we want to move to Royal 1, which is apparently the classroom that taught the Demon Lord himself. And he's like, no way in hell am I giving you group of misfits Royal 1. And he goes through the list of why everybody is basically in trouble.
I like how when it gets to the quiet girl, he's like, and then you're fine. And then he moves on.
Yeah. But then they go and he's basically says, he's like, yeah, give me a week and I'll get every single teacher to sign off on a permission slip to say we can use that classroom. He's like, you got 3 days. He's like, perfect.
That was well within my calculations.
And then they go to Royal 1 and he basically asks them all, like, if they voted for Ramiro over Amari and the thing. They're like, yeah, we thought it would be fun. He's like, exactly. You guys are the type of people that don't give a shit about anything and just want to, like, enjoy yourselves, which is how demons should be. So think about this. You guys would get the most famous classroom and most prestigious place in this school, and none of you would give a fuck about it. Isn't that actually kind of awesome? You get to, like, desecrate this place just by you being there. Like, that would be pretty cool.
It has things that everyone here would like. Jazz, it has gold for you can steal. It has gold for you can do of the stealing.
It's just a guy who only sleeps. It has a nap room, even though you seem to sleep everywhere else anyway.
Yeah. Whatever. This is an official place, I guess. It's got a soundproof room for the idol girl.
It's got all that shit that they want, and then at the end, they all basically agree to follow him, and he points at Jazz, and he's like, and Jazz, you're going to be our vanguard. So Jazz is now going to actually be more relevant to the plot, and that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Because I like Jazz. He's interesting. All of Season 1, he was one of the more interesting members of the class, along with the, gamer dude.
Yeah. I like how when they're in the vein of the gamer dude, I like how when Kalego Sensei is going over like the list of everything he's done, he gets to the gamer guy and he's like, one of your games sent 4 students to the intensive care ward. And I was like, bro, what fucking soft fucking games is this dude running? Is this dude just doing Saw? What was it? I want to know what game that was.
Yeah.
Would you like to play a game?
And he's just basically like, yeah, I went a little too far with that, I'll admit.
Yeah, I guess that one's on me. No shit, dude.
Yeah. But it was, this was a really good episode. I like Evil Iruma, and I like that he's pushing people through the plot. I like how the other classmates are going to get more developed too, although personally, most of them are really not interesting. Like, I don't care about Nap Dude. The Owl Dude is just the grape guy from My Hero. And the whole class is primarily just like a worse My Hero Academia class.
Sleepy, horny on main.
The lion guy, the dude with the bird head and the katana, whose whole bit, I guess, is he's just a samurai.
He's named after a samurai too, or he's named after.
I remember his name.
I remembered it like a little while ago, and then I forgot it again. But he is named after like a famous Japanese, I think, swordsman.
You can like count. You can count most of the actual relevant party members or classmates on one hand.
Yeah, I would say besides the big three,
I'll give them the credit though that the show has been pretty good at developing people, like the student council members I found and I ended up liking. So I'll give them the chance.
That's true. That's a good point. We'll probably get more time with the classmates too. So we'll have more time to actually develop them and see what their whole deal is.
Yeah.
And that's nice. But I think
it's a good episode.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got for this week though.
Yeah, I think we're done. I did my stretch. You know, when I do my stretch, I'm basically done. I don't care no more.
My bottle of Gatorade is empty because it's very warm today, so I've been drinking.
I put my air conditioners in, but I haven't turned it on because I feel like it would get in the way of the podcast.
That's a good assumption. I need to unpack my central air unit and like swap the heating system over. But that doesn't take too long. But anyway, thanks for sticking around. If you're listening on one of the many podcast platforms we've on, that's your Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music.
The Spotify, it's on all of them. You can find us there. Just subscribe on that. We are on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. The algorithm likes that. When people engage, the algorithm's like, hey.
Especially because the algorithm has been real dog shit lately.
Yeah. What happened, YouTube? What happened to our slow incline that was happening?
I don't know. We got hit real hard at the beginning of like last month. I don't know, but I won't get.
Yeah, we've been plateaued. This is the best it's gonna get.
The fuck? We got to come up with new strats, and if you want to keep up with our new strats, the best way to do that is to follow us on the socials media. At Protagonist, see Twitter and Facebook. That's where we're at. It's also good to keep up with our YouTube page. Make sure you've got notifications turned on because YouTube likes to be a little sus with stuff like that.
Yep, that's everything.
Yeah,
do all those things.
Do all those things. If you like our OP song, it's made by a guy named Popskyy. His stuff's going to be in the description as well.
And check us out next week because we will be here next week because we do this almost every week.
We do this every approximately 7 days.
Yeah.
So thanks for sticking around. We hope to see you again next week.
Keep struggling, strugglers.
Keep on rambling, ramblers.
Class.
Class dismissed.